Yo, what's up guys? Pogs here, back with another video. And today, I'm going to be doing it on my Tearlaments again. So, today I played a competitive tournament with the list. Literally just the day after the list becomes legal. So, this recording, the 6th of August. So, this was a competitive tournament today because this locals normally doesn't do winner box tournaments, normally does OTS. But for the new set release, they decided to do a winner box with a cap of 36 players and 30 turned up. So I played in that, and I think the deck performed better than I thought, but there wasn't I didn't face as many sprite or tier elements as I would have liked to. Out of the whole tournament, I only played one sprite, which was against my friend. And then round two, which was round one. Round two, I'd got the bye because the dude didn't turn up for round one, so they decided to give him a chance to turn up for round two, and he didn't. And then round three, I played against Branded Despia, which I outed in game one, them going first. And in game two, they flipped D barrier and called Fusion, but I just passed, let them play, and they bricked. So we went. So he passed again, and I just put a game on board. Next for round four, I went against Branded Desperate again, but the problem was my moves weren't that good, and neither was my opening hands. So I lost that. Then round five, I lost to Trickstars due to their burn and time. I won game one, then we went to game two, and I lost game two, so we went to game three. And because the Trickstar field spell burnt every time I had a card to hand, and then they have the one Trickstar that burns for 200 every time you activate a spell or trap, I just lost to burn on time. So overall, I finished 19th, which I think was pretty good for me, because otherwise I probably would have ended up like last. So I did make a little change to the list. So instead of playing the triple tactics, I decided to play Upstart instead, just because it could be really good. +1, while something like triple tactics is reliant on my opponent using a monster effect, which sometimes they won't, because the amount of times I tried to buy Ash Blossom off someone today, like going through terraforming, field spell, Rhino Art before activating Branded Fusion, it never worked. It was quite mad, to be fair, because I want my Branded Fusion to go through, but also it didn't come up as much as I thought it would. One card that came up a lot though was definitely Rhino Art. Rhino Art was just the MVP of today, in my opinion. The amount of times on normal summoned Rhino Art sent a Tearlament and then fused into Kit Coloss was insane. And so Rhino Art was really good. Shailen didn't come up as much for Mills, and Havnis didn't come up much either in my opening hands. And Merlin didn't either, to be fair. If I ever normal summoned, it was either Rhino Art or it would have been Dealuba. Because if I'm going to summon out Havnis, I'll do it on my opponent's turn. If I'm going to summon out Shailen, I'm going to special summon it instead. And if I summon out Merlin, it'll be by Kit Coloss's effect. So I'm mill 8 instead of just 5. Meta Noise did come up a lot as well, Buckamoon in my opponent's monsters, which I did quite like. And then the Branded Fusion didn't come up off as much as I would have liked it to be fair. So after explaining all that, I'm going to show you my deck list for the tournament. So to begin with, played the standard Tearlaments package, 3 Rhino, 3 Shaolin, 3 Havnis, 3 Merle, 1 Meta Noise, 1 Suliac, and then what typically would be 3 field spells is 2 field spells and an upstart, because I haven't got the third yet. I haven't even got the second, to be fair. I've been lending it off a mate. But that is your standard Tearlaments package, which you should just play in every deck, in my opinion, for playing any Tearlaments deck, unless you're going heavy on the engine and then just putting Tearlaments in as an engine instead. So after that, we have the branded engine, which didn't come up as much as I thought it would, but it's still good to be in there because it's nice to end on a mirror jade. Also today, again in round 3 against the branded Despia, my opponent went branded Fusion to make Lubellion, but they sent Beast and Albaz. Then he used the Lubellion to make the Winder. So 3 Luba, 2 Albaz, because 1 either isn't enough or 3 is too brooky. I learned that 1 is enough today, to be fair, because against Trickstars round 5, my opponent went Reincarnation while I had 1 Aluba in hand, because I sided the second out, and just stopped all my branded plays because I couldn't summon anything. So if you're going to side out, do not side out the second, just keep it in just in case. The 3 branded Fusion, and then 3 branded Open. This is my list for, well, this is my branded engine, because it doesn't need to be any bigger, just because it might take up that crucial deck space that can be used for something more useful. Next, onto the Shadows. I only play 2, and you know them. Beast and Squamata. You don't need to play anymore. Squamata just sends Beast, and Beast just draws 1. It's typically what I'd do is I'd go branded Fusion, send in Albaz and Squamata, and then Squamata is a chain link 2 to protect the Lubellion. So what you'd do is you'd go chain link 1 Lubellion, chain link 2 Squamata. Well, honestly, I think you should do it the other way around, because I'm pretty sure I've thought that Lubellion can be ashed, but I don't think it can, because it's shuffling back in, it's not searching or anything. So I think you should go chain link 1 Lubellion, chain link 2, chain link 1 Squamata, chain link 2 Lubellion, because with Squamata, if you send Beast in, it's a free draw, which can really help in some situations. Next, for the King of the Swamp package, it's the exact same as before. You've got the 2 King of the Swamp, the 1 Poly. This actually did come up quite a bit today, because I had a Dark in hand and the Kit Coloss on board, and my opponent, round 5, the Trickstars, put Mystic Mine on board and had a monster on board. So what I did was I went Poly to make Dragastapelia, and then because we both only had 1 monster on board, I went to end phase and Mystic Mine was then removed from the field. So that's one way to out, but if you can't, then there's not much you can do in that situation. So next, for the one-offs, the 1 Terraforming. This is just technically the 4 field spell, because it just searches it. Instant Fusion. So if you make Kit Coloss, then you get the free search, but if it's destroyed in the end phase by its effect, it's technically destroyed by card effect, meaning that you get to mill 5. I'm pretty sure that's right. Cold Boy, the 1-of obviously, and then Foolish. It's just a free fusion at the end of the day. Next, For the last 3 cards of this deck, it's not a hand drop, it's a board breaker. Didn't come up as much as I thought it would, but it's Dark Ruler. Such a good card. Should be played at 3 in the main deck. Next format, but no, this format, Sprite and Tearlaments formats, just because of how easily it stops your opponent's boards. As soon, you might not be able to attack for game, but if you put up a board of negates and break your opponent's board, then your opponent might just scoop and go on to the next game, or you might just win the round. So next, going on to the extra deck, we are playing the standard Tearlaments fusions, the 1 Kaleido and the 2 Kit Koloss. Standard Kit Koloss is a search and then uses its effect, can use its effect, and then Kaleido is a free shuffle back, so outs to window and stuff like that. And then what else it does is, if it's sent by card effect to grave, it can revive itself and send 1 Tearlament back to deck. Send 1 Tearlament from deck to grave, which happened in round 5. My opponent torrential tributed me, so on about I think it was 3 different occasions, and I just used more Tearlament effects like Kaleido to fuse even more. Next, for our branded stuff, we play 2 Mirror Jade, 1 Lubellion and 1 Albion. Now, when Darkwing's Blast releases, I'll definitely put it down to 1 Mirror Jade, because everything except Kaleido Art is recyclable out of the grave. Well, with the fusions, it's all recyclable out of the grave, straight back into deck, extra deck. So it's easy if they just get sent to put them back in your extra deck and use again. So when Darkwing's Blast released, I'm going to replace the Mirror Jade with the 1 Lulu Karos, because it stops your opponent from special summoning once. Next, play the 2 Dragostapelia. I did have a board where I had to end on 2 Dragostapelia because my hand was that bad. Plus, Dragostapelia is really good, especially against Sprite. Just because if your opponent decides to go into a level 2, well, if your opponent normal summons level 2, you can go Dragostapelia, put a counter on it, and now it's level 1, so they can't special anything using it. Next, we play 1 Winder. Easy enough to make. Just use a Tearlament and a Shadowing Grave, or you can use Lubellion to fuse Albaz and not a Winder, Beast or Squamata into it. Caliga didn't come up much. I think I used it once throughout the whole tournament, which was 5 rounds, because I didn't make it to top cut. I used it once. It didn't stop my opponent because he had Droplet in and sent 3, negated my Mirror Jade, my Winder, and my Caliga. With Kit Koloss still alive. Next, for the XCs, none of these actually came up to, but they're nice to have in just in case. You got the 1 Redoer, the 1 Baguska, the 1 Abyss Dweller, and then Zeus. Zeus is really good in this actually, because if you have a board full of Tearlaments and you use Zeus, because they're all being sent to grave by card effect, what you can do is use their effects to fuse, revive, mill 5, revive and send, etc. Next, for my side deck for this tournament, I had made this last night. It looked 9-10 o'clock, thinking that, well, not thinking, knowing that would be better than the one that I made before. So I had 2 IDP. So IDP was a good one for me. I sided it in for the Sprite matchup really, and I'll put myself as a Sprite matchup, just because if my opponent decided to summon a Sprite and they had the one in grave, could go Ice Dragon's Prison, revive the one in grave, and then banish the one on board and the one that I summoned to my board, just because they're both Thunders. So next, the 2 anti-spell. I only played the 2 anti-spell because I only owned the 2, to be fair, but definitely would have played 3. Just like the Ice Dragon Prisons, I only owned the 2. I put it in for Sky Striker and Branded Despia, but I never saw it when I did side it in against the Branded Despia. Next, the one change of art. I done this for the Sprite, for against Sprite. If a Dole Elf, I could use Merly. No, I could use Elf to revive Merly in grave. Then by doing that, I could mill another 3, which could give me advantage. Also, I did it for the mirror match, so I could just fuse using their monsters without them gaining effects, because it put them to the bottom of the deck. Next, 3 Lava Golem. Like I said in one of my previous videos, that should definitely be played this format because of how big the boards are that people put on it. So, Sprite puts up like a 3 monster board. Lava Golems require 2. You can just lose Lava Golem to out that board without using something like Dark Ruler. Next, I'll put in 3 DD Crow. It's good against Tearlaments because what you can do is you can target what they have declared to fuse with and negate that fusion. And then with Sprite, you can target whatever they declared to revive with Elf. And then they can't revive because they don't have the target in grave anymore. Then standard back row removal, the 1 Harpies, and then the 3 Cosmic. This is especially useful against the Tearlaments because if Meta Noise or Suliak is sent by a card effect to the grave, then they trigger, but if they're banished, then they don't trigger because they're no longer in the grave, they're in a different area. So that's it for this video. Hope you all enjoyed my take on the deck. I do enjoy it. I'm going to be doing more content on it in the future. Definitely have some more matches up with it against other decks soon. So I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, please like and subscribe. I'll see you all in the next one. So see ya.